think you know Antarctica? Wrong. Most people picture it as a white desert, a cold, dead land. But today, we're diving deep, going beyond the truth that mainstream science has tried to shove into your head for decades. Imagine 3 miles of thick ice, a massive volume imprisoning a terrifying secret. What if I told you that this icy shell isn't the bedrock, but the giant grave of a civilization once more brilliant than anything we've ever known? A civilization that didn't disappear, but was simply flash frozen in place. Ruins, pyramids, cities that might be older than Egypt itself lie waiting. And the most chilling part? Their inhabitants, advanced, otherworldly entities, might still be active, hidden in secret bases below. Are you ready to face the truth that Antarctica is the final frontier, where history was wiped clean and secrets could fundamentally change everything humanity believes? Our story begins in August 1946. At that time, World War II had just ended. An esteemed U.S. naval officer and explorer, Admiral Richard Byrd, the first pilot to fly over both the North and South Poles, led the largest expedition in history to Antarctica, Operation Highjump. It was a massive fleet, 13 ships, 23 aircraft, and over 4,700 military personnel. Such a huge operation right after the war's conclusion was highly significant. They went there with the official goal of investigating potential sites for military bases. But what Admiral Byrd found was absolutely not in any textbook. This is the key point. This story doesn't come from official published accounts, but from the suppressed pages of his private diary. A diary later discovered by his son, revealing something so frightening that the government had to crack down. Byrd wrote that there was an entrance to the center of the Earth located right at the South Pole. He flew his plane through a hole under the South Pole. And when he flew inside, the environment suddenly changed. The ice disappeared, replaced by an unbelievably lush, temperate green area. But that was just the start. He began to see a glittering city, a crystal rainbow city. Then, his plane was taken over. Mysterious disc-shaped flying objects surrounded him and led him to land in a giant cavern. There, he met an entity he referred to in his diary as the Master. And the message the Master delivered to Byrd was not one of welcome. It was one of deep disappointment regarding what humanity was doing with nuclear weapons. They were concerned that we had destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and they hoped humanity would stop. This is precisely what makes Byrd's story legendary. It links directly to the start of the modern UFO era, immediately following World War II and the atomic bomb blasts. Many UFO sightings were reported around nuclear missile silos. These beings, whether they were angels or aliens, were profoundly worried that we were not only destroying ourselves, but also destroying this planet, their world. If Admiral Byrd's secret diary is true, it not only reveals evolved beings living inside the Earth, but also shows that they are monitoring us. And when Byrd returned, he was taken to a government agency. The absolute command: never disclose this publicly. Everything is classified. So what happened in the 48 hours after Byrd's return? What compelled the U.S. government to suppress a story about peace? And how do these ancient traditions of gods living beneath the Earth have a deep connection to the UFO phenomenon today? Antarctica, the continent of extremes, is not just a giant deep freezer, but the final frontier of Earth. With nearly 98% of its surface covered by a terrifying ice sheet, up to 3 miles, nearly 5 kilometers thick, seeing the land's surface beneath is impossible. It is precisely this absolute obscurity that draws our imagination. Ancient astronaut theorists argue that it's not just geology that is hidden from view. They believe there is more human and perhaps non-human activity going on this mysterious continent than governments and scientists let on. Some even hypothesize that Antarctica is a type of alien base, a chilling reality buried beneath millions of tons of ice. To further reinforce the hypothesis of hidden activities in Antarctica, we cannot just rely on stories from over half a century ago. Let's look at the testimony from a modern whistleblower, a story not from an ancient diary, but from a specially trained U.S. Navy veteran. In July 2018, investigative journalist Linda Molenhow interviewed a former U.S. Navy SEAL, whom she called Spartan 1. To protect his identity, Spartan 1's account took the Antarctic mystery to an entirely new level, one that could redefine human history. Spartan 1 recounted that in August 2003, while holding the rank of lieutenant commander in Navy Special Operations, he and his team were sent to the southeastern coast of Antarctica on a reconnaissance mission. The official task was to search for an individual, but unofficially, it was a search for something much more significant. When they arrived at the destination, what they saw was not a geological anomaly, but a perfectly geometric structure rising out of the ice. A giant octagonal structure. Only the top section, about 18 feet, nearly 5.5 meters, was exposed, but the greater part was buried deep beneath the permanent ice. The astonishing part happened when they approached the door. The structure had several doors, each 18 to 30 feet thick, a massive volume of material. However, this goes against every physical law we know. You could use one finger and gently push, and the door would swing open without any resistance. Upon entering, they witnessed an incredible contrast. While the temperature outside was horrifyingly cold, at least minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit, the air inside was warm and comfortable, maintained by a perfect climate control system in extreme conditions. The environment inside the structure was also full of anomalies. The light illuminating the entire space was a spooky lime green, yet they could not find the source. And on the walls, not natural rock, but what Spartan 1 called hieroglyphs. But unlike any ancient script he had ever seen in historical records, who could have built these mysterious structures? The story leads us back to one of the greatest legends, Atlantis. Plato wrote about this lost continent, an advanced civilization said to exist 9,000 years before his time. Evidence continuously emerges, suggesting Atlantis is not just a myth. The most daring researchers believe the remnants of this legendary civilization are not in the Atlantic, but are located right under the Antarctic ice. A controversial theory suggests that Atlantis was actually an extraterrestrial colony. Around 13,000 years ago, an extreme event, possibly a violent pole shift, caused this brilliant civilization to be displaced and immediately flash frozen beneath the current South Pole position. The octagonal structure that Spartan 1 saw could very well be a part of these ancient ruins. So, what happened to what remains? Are the world's governments secretly working with these extraterrestrials? They know about the artifacts and buried ancient civilizations. If Antarctica is the ideal alien base due to its isolation, then what if they are protecting a secret from our own distant past? A secret that could show human history is entirely different from what we are taught. We return to 1946, the moment Admiral Richard Byrd led Operation Highjump, a massive fleet to Antarctica. This was a formidable military force, fully equipped to establish bases and execute assigned military objectives. However, after about 9 months on this icy continent, horrifying stories leaked out that they had to fight a battle. Not battling the cold, harsh weather conditions. But with disc-shaped flying objects that were reported to have emerged from under the water and attacked the fleet, Byrd's forces suffered a heavy defeat. The real climax came in March 1947. Byrd returned and reported that a new enemy had been discovered. An enemy possessing technology so superior that it could fly from one pole to the other in a moment. This report caused a sensation, but was quickly suppressed and classified top secret. But evidence for Byrd's astonishing claim reappeared more than 70 years later. In 2018, a satellite image recorded something unexplainable, forcing scientists to confront an unimaginable truth. It was a contrail, a trail of condensed water vapor left by a flying object. But this contrail was no ordinary trace of a civilian or military aircraft. It stretched the entire vertical length of the Earth, from the North Pole to the South Pole, a distance of up to 12,000 miles. Notably, a normal contrail can only maintain its shape for a maximum of 30 minutes, most often less than 15 minutes, before dissipating into the atmosphere. To create a contrail that spans the entire Earth without interruption, the flying object must have moved at an unimaginable speed, faster than 50,000 miles per hour. That is 10 times the speed of our fastest current aircraft. That means this mysterious object crossed the planet from one pole to the other in just a few minutes. It traveled at a speed far exceeding Mach 10. According to the physical laws we understand, this is an impossible event. Whatever that object was, it is irrefutable proof of a type of technology that we have never seen and cannot explain. And speed is not the only evidence. Modern satellite technology has continued to illuminate the mysteries under the ice. In 2018, researchers released coordinates for something they described as a crashed UFO on South Georgia Island, a part of Antarctica. The photos are truly convincing and undeniable. You can clearly see the skid mark deeply imprinted on the ice. This skid mark is perfectly straight, leading to an object about 50 yards long. Ancient astronaut theorists quickly linked the shape and characteristics of this object to Oumuamua, the strange interstellar object that a Harvard astronomer suggested might be an alien probe. This coincidence is too great to ignore. It is very likely an emergency landing of an extraterrestrial vehicle. Physical evidence lying there, frozen and concealed from the public eye. So, could Antarctica be the location of a secret alien base subtly disguised by disc-shaped caverns? And if there are transcendent entities protecting it, then why are governments doing everything they can to cover up a simple hole or skid mark on the ice? The incomprehension and frustration regarding government suppression continue to mount. We continue the story with another modern account, irrefutable evidence of government cover-up. This time, we listen to the testimony of Brian, a retired Navy flight engineer who served at McMurdo Station in Antarctica from 1983 to 1997. Brian's account takes us directly into the most mysterious no-fly zone on the planet. Brian recounted that during an emergency medical transport mission, they were forced to fly over an area where all pilots were strictly warned not to trespass. The no-fly zone near the Transantarctic Mountains. And there, they saw it. A giant hole in the ice. It was not a natural cavern, but a sloping entrance with an estimated diameter of up to 100 to 200 feet, about 30 to 60 meters. A hole so massive it was unbelievable, piercing through the thick ice. But as soon as their plane approached, everything began to spiral into chaos. The flight instruments stopped working. They suddenly lost power. they encountered intense magnetic anomalies. The crew concluded that there was something about this hole causing severe technical problems. After completing the medical mission and returning, they were not only not praised, but were heavily interrogated and reprimanded. The individuals conducting this were men in suits from Washington, D.C., not staff from McMurdo Station. Their message was clear, cold, and threatening. Never, absolutely never fly over that hole again, and never discuss it. This is a chilling coincidence. It exactly repeats what Admiral Byrd described over half a century ago. A large hole at the South Pole, free of ice and inhabited by various entities. Could Antarctica be an extraterrestrial entry zone, strictly controlled by the military to ensure silence? But what else is buried beneath the ice, larger than any base or hole? It is the pyramid. In recent years, archaeologists have found evidence of pyramids all over the world. If a giant pyramid structure found in Antarctica is an artificial construction, it would not only be the largest, but also the oldest pyramid on our planet. It could even be the Master Pyramid. The original design that all other pyramids on Earth emulate. One of the most discussed theories is that these pyramids are not tombs, but power generators. If these pyramids were strategically placed globally, they could generate a general standing wave, forming a global wireless energy transmission system. Such a global power grid could be used to navigate ancient ships, alien craft, or any advanced technology. And if this system ever existed, it makes perfect sense that Antarctica, with its strategic location, would have a pyramid. But how could these structures exist under an ice sheet more than 12 million years old? Ancient astronaut theorists propose a startling idea. Antarctica may not have been frozen for as long as we think. Evidence may lie in 500-year-old maps, like the Puri Race map, depicting Antarctica without ice. And the concerning thing now is that, while ice is growing in some areas, it is melting rapidly in West Antarctica. Why are some areas melting when the majority of the continent is growing? Could there be underground cities being powered and expanded by extraterrestrials, and that heat source is melting the ice above them? The anxiety over a hidden secret heating up along with the Antarctic ice continues to peak. We need to find the final clue, the missing pieces, not from modern classified reports, but from humanity's most ancient texts. Let's go to the Temple of Edfu in Egypt, one of the best preserved temples, a huge archive of texts, primarily discussing the creation of the world and the origins of the gods. The Edfu texts state that the earth was created by powerful deities who came from the sky. They established a place they called the Bisu Stone and Egg Island. A pristine island rising from the midst of an eternal lake. The original inhabitants of this mythical world were incredibly mysterious. They included three main groups: the sages, the builders, and the enigmatic ship 2. A group especially mysterious because they were said to emerge from under the water. These very entities built the world's first temples, which became the blueprints for all later Egyptian architecture. And when the work was complete, the creator gods met their great bird and flew up to the sky, leaving the island. But the story doesn't end there. The Edfu texts also speak of a war, a terrifying cosmic conflict. The armies of the gods, led by the falcon god, battled an enemy represented by a snake. The event occurred in the sky, where an entity called the enemy snake appeared. This enemy had its own name, the Great Leaping One. And immediately after the Great Leaping One appeared, a period of darkness descended. Then came devastating floods that destroyed this sacred island. When the waters receded, the original beings known as the Ancient Ones had disappeared. This is the climax of the story. Was the enemy snake the great leaping one? A memory of a comet that entered the solar system and caused devastation similar to the catastrophe believed to have ended Atlantis? Or what if it was a deliberate attack, an act of war aimed at the otherworldly civilization that once existed on Antarctica, the place we now know as the frozen continent? Here is the final reveal. Could the catastrophe story inscribed on the walls of the Edfu Temple be describing a massive attack targeting the advanced civilization that once existed on Antarctica? If so, everything is linked. It means that the Atlantis civilization is not a myth, but an extraterrestrial colony destroyed by a meteorite or war. The inhabitants of the inner Earth, who warned Admiral Byrd, are still active and monitoring us. The government cover-up is not to protect us from aliens, but to protect what remains of the war and what is happening right beneath the ice we walk on. This is not just about history. This is about our present and our future. If those ruins, those massive pyramids, those bases start to emerge from the ice, then everything will end. It will change everything we know about our origins, religion, and our place in the universe. The secret of Antarctica is not just history. It is the key for us to understand who we are, where we came from. And it might be the key for us to save ourselves from human errors, avoiding the paths to destruction that the ancient entities warned us about. Outro. The secret of Antarctica is not just history. It is a wake-up call. We have just peeled back a very small part of the veil concealing human history, and the story is far from over. The inner Earth beings warned Byrd about nuclear weapons, and they are still waiting. Is the master an enemy or a protector?